make a few comments that way, you know what I'm talking about. To begin with, tasting wine is fun, and you do not have to be professionals to enjoy wine. That snobbery, you should leave it someplace else. Let those guys worry about fancy descriptions and labels and vintages and vineyards. The bottom line is, if it tastes good to you, that's great wine. And you are the judge of your own palate. So when you are tasting wines, don't be influenced by anything else other than what's in the glass and whether that tastes good to you or not. Having said so, I think the procedure you have in place, where you have broken down the various attributes of wine into different categories, and then you have put some kind of numerical value to it, this is a good way to approach the wine. And I would, if I use this, the first step, and I'll go quickly over that. Briefly, there are 4 steps in wine tastings. They are sometimes called 4 S's, which involve see, smell, sip, and spit. Or if you don't like to spit, you can swallow. But these are the 4 ways to remember. The first thing has to do with seeing the visual aspect of the wine. And this is the right glass for that. The glass is kind of narrows at the top, and this is the way the glass is specially designed so that when you aerate the wine, when you swirl the wine, it aerates, and all the volatile compounds, which are the flavor and aroma compounds, they rise above in the glass, and you can smell and you can enhance the pleasure of wine. So the first step in wine tasting then is what you see here, visual. It says fill the glass halfway and hold it against the white surface. I would suggest not to fill the glass halfway. Maybe third or, yeah. The reason is if you have a small mouth, you can swirl the wine better. So I would put about ounce and a half of wine. And then the first thing in the visual aspect of wine is the clarity, how clear the wine is. Most other white wines should be brilliantly clear. And the reds may not be as clear because some of these wines are produced without filtration or with minimum filtration. And the color of the wine sometimes is so deep that it is difficult to see the clarity. But for most of the part, if the wine is sound, it would be very clear in appearance in terms of clarity and absence of turbidity or cloudiness. If you see the wine as cloudy, that means something is going on that's wrong there. The second aspect of the visual inspection is the color of the wine. Now, there are a couple of major categories, white, rosé, and red. White wines are really not white. They are shades of light green to straw, to light gold, to straw color, to amber color. So there are various shades of white. And then these various shades are produced in the wine by a variety of reasons. So if you're looking at the color of the white wine, the various shades of wine color are okay. What is not okay is the brown notes or amber color. That's an indication that the wine has been excessively exposed to air and has lost its fruit component. When you look at the red wine, the shades of red are from blush to light rosés, red and dark red, and then there are variations in ruby red to purple red, all these colors. And all these colors have certain clues you can learn to judge the wine from. But again, most other shades are fine. Depends on the variety of grapes and how the wines were made. But the dark amber color in a red wine or white wine is a flaw. So when you are looking at the color of the wine, you look at the color of the white or red wine and look at if there is a flaw or is the wine would have certain color that will give you clue of certain styles of wine. Of course, if it's a blush wine, it's light red, it means it's a blush. It was fermented with limited skin contact, and there's a procedure to make the wines. So in visual aspect, then you look at the color of the wine and clarity of the wine. And that's what you have here on 4 points. Then the aroma is a lot more complex situation, but to smell the wine, you need to swirl and aerate the wine and then take a quick sniff. Or you can take short sniffs, but you have to sniff the wine. And the reason for that is you need to have a lot of air going through your nasal cavity to reach the olfactory bulb. Usually it's behind here, upper part of the nasal cavity. There is a sense organ called olfactory bulb. And the bulb has sensors which are connected to the brain on one side and which are connected to the liquid bathing, the sensors on one end. So when you smell strongly or inhale deeply, you are forcing a lot of aroma compounds to come in contact with the sense of smell. And that's what you want to do. That's why you need to sniff. That's why you need to swirl, so you can maximize the aromatics in wine. And then you take a quick but deep sniff or inhale, and most of the aromas that will approach the sense organ. Then in the sense organ, the receptor cells convey the message to the brain as to what you're smelling. So you really smell with your brain. Nose is just the outside appendage. Memory is important, because if you have smelled something and you have never smelled before, you have no memory, you cannot identify. If you never smell ginger or clove or some spices, you will say, I smell something, but I don't know. But once you start smelling and associating those smells with certain odors and certain compounds, then you can build a memory. That's why it's important to sniff and smell wine all the time, so you have practice of noticing these flavors in the wine and aromas in the wine, and you can detect them. Smelling odors compounds in wine is difficult. It is like if I give you 3 or 4 flowers individually, you can smell and identify. Yes, this is rose, this is violet, this is gardenia. But if I give you all a bouquet, suddenly you are going to have all these flavors commingling, and some would be noticeable and some may not. You might be sensitive to some odors and not to others. So the collective aroma is a little bit different than the individual component. But this is again gets back to the practicing of smelling the wine. And everybody has a different perception threshold. Some people can smell certain things. And that's why you have to have a panel. Somebody's going to say, I smell chocolate. Somebody's going to say, no, it's not chocolate, I smell plum. Somebody's going to say, I smell olive. Somebody says, there are different people who have different interpretation. Are they all wrong? No. It's what is personally appealing to them and their memory and their past experience, and that's all built into the smell. So my recommendation